Welcome back to the REI Agent. We are here with Justin Konikow. Justin, thanks so much for joining us.
I appreciate you having me on.
Excited for this conversation. Justin, you're coming out of the south, did you say eastern part of Ontario?
Southwestern, just north of Michigan, actually. Yeah.
Got it. So give us a bird's eye view of what you do in the real estate space, and then we'll get into your story.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you looked at me online, you would see first that I'm an active agent in production. I run a team, but I actually own my brokerage outright as well. I'm with my incredible wife, but we're not really a brokerage. We're the only brokerage that I know that acts like an actual company, doesn't do any recruiting. Think of us more like a tactical Navy SEAL team of experts. And also very unique to us, we cover every asset class: residential, commercial, investment, agriculture. For example, I have a cash crop advisor on staff who actually raises grass-fed beef and has done rodeo. Very unique, right? Each asset class has kind of a division leader, and then we have territory specialists. So I said Southwestern Ontario. London, Ontario is like the hub of the market. If you looked at Toronto, Canada on a map, and Detroit, we're like smack dab in the middle. So we've taken that entire region as our market share, kind of everywhere in between. And also do a lot of speaking, collaborating, podcasting. Good friend of mine, Mr. Ryan Serhant, spoke on stage at his event last year, and just a normal guy who somehow got in front of some really interesting people. And I still feel like I'm failing every day trying to figure it out. So here I am.
I love it. We're going to have to dive into tease out how you'd separate or how you differentiate yourself as like not just a brokerage, but like a company, because I think that's really interesting, and I have some thoughts on it. But I do want to hear first about how you got started with real estate. When did you actually get into the business?
My wife tricked me. It was 2012. I was in hospitality, and I had worked my way up through that company from being a bouncer to a barback to director of marketing coordination for all the restaurants. And she had grown up in a family that built an automotive business in the middle of nowhere to one of like the biggest powerhouses for Ford and Lincoln in Canada. And we just wanted to do our own thing, right? She wasn't really wanting to go down the nepotism path. She's like, I want to build something. I want to build something. And initially we had thought about hospitality because she has her MBA from the Richard Ivey School of Business. She's a killer at ops. But she had been licensed 7 years before me, which she had given up to go help her family with the medical situation within the family. But she had always loved it. And when she told me about being a real estate agent, my exact response was, I don't want to be a greaseball on a golf course. They don't work hard. The agents I knew didn't, right? You would set up a portal, right. You'd find your own house. They brought little to no value, or they'd come and list your house and all show you the same comps, show you their great slide deck and how great they are. And then it would just be a competition on commission. So I was like, I don't want to be that guy. But her idea with her background in business consulting was the nexus of what we created, which was, no, we won't be agents. We won't be a brokerage. We're going to build a company that specializes in pricing, marketing, and negotiation, but an actual company where you're not getting an individual agent, 1 out of 200 to fight for you. You're getting the entire company, hence where we are today.
That's awesome. So where did that start then? So that you both got your licenses and I mean, I don't know what it is in Canada. Around here, you have to be licensed, for 3 years before you can jump into get your brokerage license. So where did that lead?
Well, I like to explain it like this, right? You have 3 things. You have time, skill, and money. We had a lot of time, no skill, no money. And it started opening up shop or getting licensed and working at a brokerage. You have to do it for 2 years there. Mm-hmm. And we just wanted to sell a house. And the market in 2012 here was garbage. And we were listing properties, but nothing was selling. So that was my entrance into the industry. And then we started getting some traction because of what I was doing on the marketing side in media and her tactical approach to pricing. I actually started off in commercial real estate first. She was on res. But after that 2-year period, we ended up having a child, and she really didn't want to be front facing with clients, right? Like, I definitely, of the two of us, it's like, you don't see anything of her online. You wouldn't even know she exists because she doesn't have social media. She doesn't like it. It's not her thing. Mm-hmm. And she wanted to move into more of an operations role. And after we had our child, she showed me the business plan. And it's interesting because like I pushed against her. I was like, we're crushing it. We finally have traction. We're at a big national brokerage, big national brand. All our clients that means so much to them. And she was like, that's cute. This is what we're doing. And it's interesting because in a relationship, a lot of times you do those back and forths. And I was like, okay, if you really feel this way, let's try it. So she moved purely into operations. I was in sales, and then had too many clients to deal with myself. So brought on one agent to help me with the overflow, brought on VAs, admins. And I mean, I painted a really big vision of what we are today, but it literally started in a 300 square foot co-working space with a VA, and us just scrapping it out, going from selling a house to a bunch of houses in neighborhoods to different asset classes in a city to now we cover a bunch of different territories. And it was just showing up every day, just trying to get 1% better. That's the story.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and dive into then why or if you can explain more why it's different to like run a business that specializes in selling real estate, right? I mean,
Sure.
versus, having just a traditional brokerage.
Well, I mean, it's a lot more complicated from the standpoint that you're taking on all of your transaction coordination and compliance, right? Like it would probably be easier for me to just bolt this on to one of the large nationals, but we have a level of control that they just simply don't. And we're building enterprise value within our company that we wouldn't be able to do if we were just working at any national brokerage, virtual or bricks and mortar. And I also think like with the future of real estate, we're truthfully now, we're a real estate, a media, and a tech company. The tech company is really going to be in our crosshairs in the next year, especially with AI, but like literally looking for AI engineers, because every national is bolting on their virtual AI chatbots and everything else. That's great. But I think we're going to take it to a different level internally here in terms of building it really to help our clients, not necessarily our agents, where if I look at every other brokerage that's out there, every solution they're coming up with is actually to help their agents because their clients are their agents.
Right.
So like the biggest difference is my clients are my clients. My clients aren't my agents. My agents are, I don't even like the terminology agents or team or brokerage because it doesn't really define how we operate. We just have our own little ecosystem, and it means that obviously being active in sales and generating opportunities for the team, it is a big part of what I do and being in negotiations. But it means I'm much more of a business owner than I am a salesperson, if that answers your question.
Yeah, I love it. I think I'm going through processes of building a team, exploring things like organizational charts and that kind of thing, where you have your traditional CEO role, visionary type thing. I'm wondering if you're filling that role. You've already talked about your wife being kind of the operations person, so she might be the integrator. Underneath that, you're going to have sales, sales operations and finance maybe, and from what you've already described, you would have in the sales category branches. So you have specializations in, different sectors. So like commercial, is that accurate?
Yeah. I mean, silos, whether you look at EOS, whether you look at there's a ton of different programs out there that all basically say the same thing. And business is not hard. You literally have to offer a product, generate leads for the product, intake product, deliver service, close out, retain clients, rinse and repeat. I would say from our organizational structure, that would be fairly accurate. There's the Prime group of companies. Prime Real Estate is a part of that, Prime Media and Prime Technologies, which next year will be a bigger part of it. My wife would be CEO role operations. I would be more CMO, which is leading content, driving opportunities. But the two of us really we lay out the vision, and it's our job to lead the organization to make sure that the vision is being executed, take the risks, look around corners in terms of, okay, what really matters to the people that are in our ecosystem, and then also provide opportunities for them, right? Because I don't want my salespeople to always just be salespeople. I want to create an organization that allows them to become better humans through their work. And thus, we all probably are going to make a lot more money if we have really good people doing really good work, right?
Yeah, totally. Having those, I don't know if they have their own kind of goals and 3-year plans, visions, visions, things. But it is really cool to, help facilitate, help support people under you to get to where they're wanting to go along the way, even if it's not necessarily 100% directed in where it's adding the most money to your pocket. Like if they want to move in a slightly different direction, being able to help them still with those dreams.
Yeah, you caught me on the right day. We just did business planning about 3 weeks ago, and I'm doing my one-on-ones with them now. We give them what's called the Prime Planner. And then I did another talk to a very large developer's sales office, so their property management group. And we all know that like property managers that have people that answer phones, right, for tenants, not the best job in the world, entry level, probably doesn't pay a lot, and you're dealing with some pretty miserable people sometimes on the phone.
Yeah.
And I walked in there and I'm like, what do you want from me? And she's like, just fire them up. Like, you know, we had gone to a wealth private dinner and I was telling her what we were doing on the sales side to like affect change in a really tough market. It's bad here right now. And she got excited. So I walked in there and I was like, the first thing I said to everybody sitting in the room, like, she's going to get mad at me, but the first thing I'm going to say to you guys is your work is the least important thing on this list of what we're about to talk about. And like, she called me in here to talk to you about sales, but I'm going to tell you, if you're not physically, mentally fit, you don't have good relationships, and you're not having fun, you're not going to make any money. You're going to suck. And then we really dug into that piece of like, my personal stack is faith, family, fitness, fun, finances. If my heart's right with God, then I'm in a better place to serve my wife and daughter. If they are okay, then I know I'm going to be able to work out and not be distracted. Then if all that's taken care of, maybe I can go shoot some photos, go fishing, whatever, do stuff with my family. And then if all four of those are taken care of, I'm happy at work. But we live in a world that does the complete opposite. We work jobs we hate to buy stuff we don't want to impress people we don't like. And then we wonder why we're miserable, right? So I do think like for yourself, if you're building your team out or going down that path, anybody watching this, like ask yourself, how good are you in those first four before you start worrying about closing deals and making money?
Yeah, I love it. How do you keep yourself? How do you keep yourself on track? So, like, I mean, do you and where did you create this from? I mean, did you have do you have like intentional, vivid vision kind of retreats or vision retreats or whatever to check in to see where you're wanting to be in 5 years, 3 years, 10 years, et cetera? Like, what do you do to kind of keep yourself on the right path?
Yeah, I'd say like mentors, reading books, looking for signs of success, listening to podcasts. Like really, that was probably my journey initially. Now it's a lot more structured. So once a year, we take a massive founders retreat. I call it, just me and my wife. And we go back and we take all the problems we encountered in the year, look at our business, and then adapt everything moving forward. We look at our 4 F's. We ask ourselves, honestly, how are we doing? Rate them 1 out of 10. 7's not an option. What can we do yearly, monthly, quarterly, daily, weekly to affect change in those things? And then I literally just put it on my calendar, and then I just follow my calendar, and then I review it. And I think this is something, I don't even know where I heard this. I think maybe back in the Clubhouse days. I know it was Amanda Dahl who said it, who worked for the Jeff Borum team in Florida. Shout out Amanda Dahl. I always like to credit stuff. If I could only judge you by your bank account and your calendar, what story would it tell me? And bank accounts and calendars don't lie. If I'm buying nothing but chips and pizza, I'm probably not going to be in the best health, right? If I'm spending all my time doom scrolling TikTok, I'm probably not going to get better at my job. So I take a look at my calendar, my bank account once a month, make adjustments against the vision that is very, very detailed and mapped out, where we're living, what we're doing, who we're working with. And then my decisions become a lot easier to track against. If I get a call for a coffee with a mortgage broker, does that track towards the vision? And if it's somebody that like I genuinely love, it's not all business. Maybe it does track to the vision. Maybe it isn't all about the actual business side, right? So
I love it. Yeah, I think the more you dive into this space, the more you understand, success. That's not just financial, that's personal, that's health, all that, family. The more you understand, like the level of intentionality it just takes, and how you are basically, a lot of people just have life, happen to them, and it's the people that choose to see where they want to go and then take steps towards it on a daily basis that really get places. So I love hearing different versions of that, but it kind of all boils down to intentionality, really.
Yeah, I find journaling and writing has been helping me a lot lately as well too. Writing stuff out physically, like on a note. I don't even have good handwriting. I could show you my notepad. Nobody can read it because my handwriting's so bad. But there's this, it's hard to describe, but there's like a different thought connection where my mind moves very quick, as you can tell. When I write stuff down, it makes me pause and look at each word, right? So I find sometimes, like, I love doing stuff like this, because ideating with other people who are driven will make me realize, like, what I'm saying, does that actually track to who I am or who I'm pretending to be for his podcast? And then as I'm writing stuff down, like, is that actually who I am or who I'm trying to be, or what do I need to change? And I do want to encourage people watching and listening that if it's not, yet, that's okay. It just means yet. And it's the simple language difference of deciding like, I'm trying to quit smoking, or I'm not a smoker anymore. Like, you may still be smoking, but if you say I'm not a smoker anymore, you're going to have a very different connection to that next cigarette than you would if you chose different language. Right.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think another piece of the puzzle here too, that people need to understand, is that they should really understand themselves well. I think having a lot of information about yourself through self-reflection, like you're talking about, I think through like different personality assessments. I've done a bunch of different ones. Currently loving the cultural assessment one, but anyway, I think having a really good understanding of how you operate will also help you on this path, because for me, I'm not a tracker. I'm not a person that will do like the checklist of making sure I got all my habits done every day. That's just not me at all. Yeah. But I, have to find my way of doing this intentional living, and most of that just really comes down to that, the routine of it and setting myself up for wanting to be in these spaces. Like for me, I'm not a home gym person. If I had a home gym, it probably would get dusty very quickly. But I am a social person. I am like competitive. I enjoy classes. I enjoy going into some sort of form of class, building that community up, holding accountability. And so I know that if I'm ever in a place where I'm not doing the class I'm doing now, if I move, whatever, I need to put that in place, or else my physical fitness will go down. And no checklist is going to do that for me, but I can set my life up for that. So I think it's also important to note, just because you see somebody else who's a really good tracker being super disciplined, know that that's their strength. Know that's how they operate well. And it's not the same for everybody.
Yeah, I would also say to that, there's a few things that I've learned over the years where like I've talked to hundreds of people about this kind of structure that I've created for myself. It was necessary because of my story. I have a very addictive personality. I actually came from addiction, broke that 23 years ago, 15 years completely sober. But I needed it as a tool. Like it was simply a tool. Right. And I would say like for somebody like yourself, as you're speaking about the social aspect of it in the classes and the fitness piece, I can tell fitness is important to you. I can tell that those pieces are important to you. I would just challenge you to like front load your year and be like, man, like just make sure that you have that in your calendar. And it's not even tracking it. It's just there. And then as you look back, you can really take a grasp at like, okay, what did I do? What didn't I do? And what's interesting is you will find out all kinds of different stuff about yourself through the journey, right? You'll look back like, I love fly fishing, but I'm at a phase of my life where if I look at my last year, my daughter's 11. It's so important to me to be doing things with her that she loves. I love photography as well. I've been shooting since I was a kid. She loves it as well. Probably going to scrap fly fishing and spend more time going out into the woods, hiking, shooting stuff, going to eat good food. Like what the ability of mapping things out and looking at your calendar, and the bank account is more on the finance side, but just the calendar really allows you to slowly start tweaking your life so that it doesn't feel cumbersome. Because like, there's two things I'll say as well. One, the structure that I have, I hate it like 60 to 70% of the time. And I'm not pressed about it. And here's the other thing. If I lose all my notebooks and all of my calendars for a month, I'm good. I'm not dependent on it. Because I used to have a track and then I took months off where I'm like, I'm not tracking nothing. And you need to have that variability, because the human body, if you're so adapted to doing something one way and then you miss a cold plunge and your whole day's ruined, that's not good. Like that's not healthy. Yeah. You need to be in flow. But I think when you're zooming out, it's exactly what you said. Do you know what you want? Like, do you know who you want to become? Yeah. And I love the calendar as a tool because it doesn't lie. Like, what is on your calendar? If it's fly fishing every single weekend for 4 hours at a time, well, my daughter doesn't actually matter that much to me, no matter what I tell myself, right? The calendar to me, it works no matter who you are, depending on where you want to go, if you use it the right way.
No, that makes sense. Totally. And I can say that, the times that I was not, I mean, calendar, I will like plan out my week to try to make sure I can fit in a CrossFit class or whatever within the time frame, and try to work around the kids' schedules and stuff like that. But there's times where I've had like, individual habits or goals or whatever that I'm tracking on a daily basis, that kind of thing. And then definitely it does really help you become intentional about, whatever it is you're trying to, and it does make a difference. I just also have gone through times, and I think that this is probably true for a lot of people. When you build up if you're trying to become a real estate agent and you try to model yourself after a mentor or somebody that you're not,
for sure,
you can try to beat yourself up about the ways that you're not them and think you need to get better at being them, when in reality you're your own version of a real estate agent. And
dude, on Instagram or social, sorry to jump on that, but I preach this all the time, right? You need to find who you are, because like the people that usually popped because they were uniquely themselves. And then when people try and replicate what they did, it never works. And the calendar and that whole process that I was explaining is kind of the exact same thing, where like, you may not like fly fishing, you may not have a daughter, you may not have kids or like CrossFit. What are the things in your life that you actually do care about? Like, what are you passionate about, and who are you trying to become? And that flexibility of, I laugh because like I stopped tracking my habits for almost a year. And I recently started again because there's 2 habits I'm trying to break. And I just tracked them for 2 weeks. And I was like, I'm like 0 out of 7 both weeks. And I'm like, that's super interesting. Like, what do I need to do to change why I keep being in that position? Right. And it's more of just a curiosity loop. But I do think that people tie themselves too much to other people's versions of success and their success today. Where I'm like, no, don't look at what I did today. Look at like what I explained to Mattias I did in the first 10 years to get here. Do that, and that you're more likely to succeed than you are trying to do what I'm doing today, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think no matter how you go about it, the act of continuing to reflect, to continuing to like be intentional about where you're going, being intentional about your life is important, and something you shouldn't lose sight of.
Yeah, and be okay letting go of stuff, letting go of the past version of yourself that you thought you were going to be. Life will reveal a lot to you, right? So
yeah, totally. I'm curious if you have found you're able to channel the addictive side of yourself in positive ways, and what that looks for you now. Like, is it obviously probably was a really hard time in your life that to get through that, to get past it, etc. But what is the positive in it now?
Yeah, I mean, from a reflection standpoint, it really was, I can tell you the day I was 17 years old, I chose to go with a bad group of people versus somebody who was my best friend on his birthday. And that led me down a very dark path. Like we mend that bridge. We're really good friends again now. But it really was like, man, you need to be careful of who you surround yourself with, because you become the people that you surround yourself with, and what they do becomes standardized and normal in your world, right? And then the second piece was, your story is not over. It doesn't matter how far you've come. There is a God up there that wants more for you. And if you are willing to just listen and take a step forward and another step and another step, it doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight. But like I said, like I still feel like I'm failing every day. But the exciting part is, in one of the hardest markets I've ever been in my career, I'm probably more excited for the next phase of growth that we're in than I ever was during the bull run of 2020 to 2022, because I know what it's going to build in us in terms of a foundation for 2028 to 2035. I couldn't pay a consultant enough money to show me what we're going to earn through tough times, right? So that was a big part of it, is that your past doesn't define you unless you let it. Your past refines you if you let it.
I love that. It's a really good quote. What are some of the strategies that you're going through, or you all are doing? Has it flipped completely to a buyer's market now? You mentioned this a couple of times, that it's a tough market. And what are the things that you're doing to overcome it?
Well, we cover a lot of asset classes in a lot of areas. So like, we're very diversified, which is a strength of ours, right? So like agriculture, commercial, still very healthy markets, still very busy. Subsets of commercial are a little bit slower, but like I said, we deal in all asset classes. Residential home buyers, it's feels like more of a buyer's market out there, but like, are you in a primary market like London, Ontario that has 500,000 people, or
Right.
are you in Grand Bend with 2,000? Are you selling a entry-level home for $500,000, or are you selling a $3.6 million lakefront property? Really, really depends on the asset class and the area. What I can tell you is the thing that is working across all asset classes in all area is treating this like an actual job and not trying to be an influencer, but an actual real estate agent, right? And it's not really complicated. All you need to do is go to work every day, know your stuff, learn the market. So like read up on real estate and be educated on, just look at the dailies, look at what's sold and start calling people and getting info. Prospecting daily, which no agent wants to do, but they all know if they did, they'd probably make more money. And then market. And that's really simple because you just tell everybody everything you learned while you were prospecting or learning the market, and just do that 4 days a week. I'll give you Fridays off consistently for 8 months and you will succeed. And we have a team of 30 here. Our team right now is at the highest frequency I've ever seen. We've simplified everything, simplified our CRM, our daily kind of routine, how we're prospecting. We're in the trenches and I'm there with them with my shovel. And that's what's working, is treat it like a job and go to work and you'll be okay.
What are some of the marketing efforts you all do as a company, or what do you encourage agents individually to do?
I think as a company, definitely high level, we have our own platform. YouTube's been great for us and our newsletters are dialed. We have our own social media channels for Prime Real Estate, which is my actual brokerage. And then I have my own, which is bigger than theirs for sure, but the personal brand typically is. And I think frequency and getting good at communicating. I said, go to work every day. Well, get better at writing copy every day, understand how to engage with people online. One random thing that I tried, 2 random things I did. One is I had a business page, Justin Konikow, full suit, whatever. I deleted it and I had 15,000 followers on that page, and I was scared when I did it. And my main page had been dormant for years. My personal page is absolutely crushing right now. And all I've been doing on there is going in once a week and telling people what I think of the market, and then just being just me. And I also think that frequency of now writing has repositioned me in the marketplace with people that I've known for decades, in terms of my aptitude for the industry. So like I kind of wanted to give you both answers. One is from a brokerage agency perspective, team perspective. What is your platform that you're able to provide to the people that are with you? And does it actually amplify their voice, or does it just feel like you just did the caption on ChatGPT and put it on later to schedule posts? Because you may as well just not do it. And then the second piece is for the individual. Who are you? What do you sell? Where do you sell it? How are you telling people what you do? What is the frequency? Pick one platform. You don't have to do what Justin does today. Pick one platform. Be consistent on that platform. Be in conversation. DM people. I had a girl, actually, random girl. I posted a living in Bayfield, Ontario video, crushed in the group. And this one girl had gone on 2 of my posts and put the little angry face. And that's what I noticed out of all the other likes and comments and everything, right? So I DM'd her and I was like, hey, what is it about my post that made you upset? And like, I said, I genuinely want to know, like, I'm not trying to cause any friction. We got into the best conversation I think I've had. And she didn't know I was local. She thought I was just a sleazeball agent. But I live along Lake Huron. I know the area and I support business owners. She's like, yeah, it's hard for me to watch my little town grow the way it's growing. And when I told her that my heart was for protecting that town, probably more than the seasonal residents and my depth of ties in that town, I got so much intel from her on how I need to create my messaging for that group so that they know that I am local to the area. But then B, I got so much feedback as to what matters to the people that live in that community. So really good tip for anybody that's watching this. Every person that follows you, send them a DM and get into conversation with them. You're here for real estate. You're here for content. Who are you? Where are you from? Tell me about yourself. Genuinely me writing these messages, not copy and paste, and listen, and then adjust based on the feedback. I think a lot of times too many people on social, they're just screaming into the ether, expecting people to come follow them, but they're not in conversation, and it's social media. So maybe be a little bit more social.
It reminded me of another tip I got once of if you are following up with people, if you have a regular follow-up plan for your sphere, to consider doing it through whatever social media platform you are most active in. Like if you are an Instagram person, DM that person instead of texting them or emailing them, even if you have that information, because you are then more likely to get their your content will get fed to them more on the platform, which I thought was pretty clever. So that's another good reason to do the DMs.
Dude, I will go on to Instagram specifically to engage with people that I have texting me, right? Like people that you want to get to know. It's the digital bus sign. I'll even go, Dustin Brome is on my podcast later on today, and I've known Dustin for 10 years. He's the homie, right? I'll like actively go on Instagram, click his profile and chat with him so that it shows me more of his stuff so I can support it just because he's my boy. And like the algorithm for some reason isn't showing his stuff to me as much, right? Like again, social media, multi-billion-dollar companies that are going to repurpose and show my content to my clients over and over and over, and I'll have to do heavy lifting. Sign me up.
Yeah, I love it. Curious if you have. I mean, we've got a ton of gold nuggets in this show already. I'm curious if you have one prepared for the audience.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is really just take some time this week. Grab a tea or a coffee, whatever you love the most. Go to the place that you love the most and don't turn on your phone. Sit down with a piece of paper and a pen and just start writing to yourself. Write a letter to yourself in 10 years. Write a letter to yourself from yourself in 10 years and picture the life that would just make you so excited to be living. And I think if you do that, then identify what are the things that you would need to do between now and then to make that happen, and then just put it on your calendar.
Yep. I love it. Such a good practice. That setting that vision is powerful. And again, being intentional about how you're going to live instead of having life just happen to you is crucial. And another point to what you just said is like that is a opportunity to get into deep flow, right? I mean, you can. So everything we have is designed to distract us right now. Our phones. So turning them off is huge. And there is nothing like getting into a deep state of flow where time just stops. You don't really think about time at all. You're just in that moment with what you're doing, and you're just so much happier. I'm always in such a better mood when I get through doing something in that state. So I love it.
Yeah, I always say like try and find a provincial park and get outdoors. There's something about being outdoors in nature that really repositions you. Get away from the screens, the lights, and all that stuff too. And I find sometimes taking pauses and breaks really does help as well too. It slows you down. Again, I'm a very high energy person. Yeah. I do my best thinking when I'm in the most random places. So
yeah, and we're coming up. When this airs, it's going to be halfway through the quarter of the last quarter of this year, so it's a great time to start getting 2026 in the sights and figuring out how you're going to break down 2026 to get to your 10-year, 5-year, 3-year vision. So.
Yeah, cool. Going back to what you said earlier, like some people they hear the word planning, checklists, calendars, and it can make them feel like there's a reaction to that. I don't want to have that structure. My wife is that person. But I remember saying to her one day, I'm like, yeah, totally fine. Like you either build a plan or you don't. Not building a plan is also a plan, but your plan is just not to build a plan. That's okay.
Right.
It doesn't have to have that attachment that some people feel like it has because it doesn't define you. Like I've built plans that are completely different than who I am today. And I've changed those plans because my identity is not wrapped up in being a real estate agent, or my identity isn't wrapped up in building a mega team. Like I'm shrinking my team. I got rid of 5 to 7 people that I had told the team last year, like we're objectively going to shrink, and the industry is going to think, oh no, look at all the people that are leaving. I'm like, we're actively going to do this because of X, Y, and Z. And it worked. And we may even shrink down a little bit more, and that's okay. Right. Because my identity isn't tied into the industry per se. Right.
Totally. No, I love that. Yeah, and I agree. And when we talk about this as well, like I just would say that, for me, I live in the future. So like the vision, the plan, that part comes easy to me. And so then it's for me, like setting myself up to do the day-to-day stuff is definitely can be hard to not go to the new exciting thing. It can be easier to, it's harder to sometimes stay the course long enough to get to where we want to go. So, but yeah, that intentionality makes a huge difference. Are you a reader? Do you have a book prepared that you think that every person maybe should read as a fundamental book, or just one you're currently really, really enjoying?
I'll give you two. The Bible, again, just my faith is a big part of my life. I've been seeing it with very new eyes too. So I've actually been trying to take the biblical principles from the Bible and apply them to situations that I've had from a work perspective. I'm doing actually this on my personal YouTube channel, which is tiny. I just do it because I enjoy doing it, and sharing stories around how those principles have saved me in situations that could have broken me differently. The second would be Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell, which a lot of people know that book. I've been personally coaching with Dan for quite some time, and it's been a game changer just to get in a room with people that are doing it at a very high level. He's an absolute killer. So that's a great book.
He has a new one out, doesn't he?
He's writing one right now. I don't know if he released it yet or not. To be honest with you, I haven't paid that close attention.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different. Right. He does it. He co-writes, right? With
Buy Back My Time was him. Like, it's his book, it's his systems. He built a SaaS company, sold it for all kinds of money. He's a director on, I don't even know how many companies at this point. Massive YouTube channel, and he's literally like, I see him doing his meetings from his boats, wakeboarding, his scooters. He's doing meetups in Australia. Like, his content machine and his media company is on a whole other level. He's coached with, like, Ed Milet was his coach at one point too. And like, he's a version of you and I that is constantly searching for knowledge and information, but his ability to look at human systems as code is fascinating, because when he runs his company, he looks at it like code. This equals this equals this. Like, the flow structure is very, very simple, but it's allowed me to simplify my organizational structure and workflow quite a bit. So
cool. I love it. And then you've mentioned a couple different platforms you're on, but what's the best place for people to follow if they want to see more?
Probably Instagram is the easiest, at Justin.Konikow. My username is the exact way to write it. That would be the best place. Shoot me a DM, and then from there you can find everything else. My personal YouTube channel's got some fun stuff in it if you like the type of content that I'm sharing here, and some interviews with some absolutely killer agents. It's all on there. So
I love it. Cool. Hey, well, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been a great conversation.
I appreciate you having me.
Thanks for listening to the REI Agent.
If you enjoyed this episode, hit subscribe to catch new shows every week.
Visit reiagent.com for more content.
Until next time, keep building the life you want.
All content in the show is not investment advice or mental health therapy. It is intended for entertainment purposes only.